came from cities, from counties, from states, and whether or not, I'm sure there was not part of the mass mailing, but what were their major concerns on those comments on those periods? And that would be something I'd like to maybe have reported back to this subcommittee, sir.
Surely.
Administrator Kaposis, $13 million included in the President's budget to assist communities develop integrated plans through the Direct Technical Assistance Competitive Grants. In my area, Lake County, cities and agencies have been working extensively to comply with the new stormwater permit. If the $13 million request is funded, how would the agency utilize this new funding to assist them in pursuing an integrated approach to permitting? And along with that, you have 5 communities that received similar technical assistance. I'd like to know where they were, what type of cities they were, urban, suburban, ag, and an update on those efforts as to whether we are able to learn from those in our areas.
Thank you very much for that question. Yes, indeed. As you know, the agency is a very strong supporter of our integrated planning framework. We have been devoting considerable time and resources to that effort, and we've been getting really positive responses from communities across the country. The FY16 request for $13 million would allow us to provide significant resources to work with at least 13 communities to help them develop integrated plans so that they can best meet their stormwater needs in the best way possible. We want to help communities understand, if I only have $1 to spend, where do I spend it? Where do I spend my second dollar, my third dollar? And make sure that those priorities are being recognized in how they meet the needs of complying with both the clean water and the safe drinking water programs.
My understanding is you are working with the Conference of Mayors.
We are working extensively with the Conference of Mayors. In fact, we recently completed an effort where we worked with them over the course of several months to specifically address affordability issues, which of course is at the very heart of the integrated plan.
Unfunded mandate, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So we are working very, very hard with them to make sure that we have a system that works in the communities, that allows them to meet their responsibilities for clean water to their citizens and to the environment, but at the same time does not impose an undue strain on either the city's budget, the community's budget, or the household budget.
Thank you, sir. Have there been specific problems in the implementation of the pesticide general permitting? And has it had any significant adverse impact on pest control operators or agricultural operators? Have they been reported to you, the number, the severity? Is it increasing? Is it diminishing? Can you report on that?
Thank you again for that question. I can say that we have not been made aware of any issues associated with the pesticide general permit. Nobody has brought an instance to our attention where somebody was not able to apply a pesticide in a timely manner, including because our rule allows for post-application notification. There has been no instances. We've been getting very good data, and I can actually proudly say that that is one area for EPA where we have no active litigation either for us or against us on the pesticide general permit.
Thank you. That's interesting. On the Superfund and Brownfields backlog, we're happy to see the support for the reinstitution of the Superfund taxes in the budget. Excise taxes imposed on domestic crude oil and petroleum products through January 1996, and then they stopped. Used to treat damages caused by release of hazardous substances. Do you have any idea, can you report to the subcommittee the number, the quantity of the backlog of pending Superfund projects versus the available funding? And along with that, if the tax is not reinstated, do you have adequate funding to address that Superfund backlog and for the Brownfields program?
I'll take that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stanislaus.
Yeah, so we have a backlog of a little over 30 sites in 30-plus communities across the country. While some of the increase would address some of that, a handful up to possibly even as much as 10. We project at least 3, maybe up to 10.
Could you identify those for this subcommittee so that we know where they're at least have an idea if any of them in our areas?
Sure.
Thank you. Go ahead, and you can finish.
I thought I answered it.
There's a number in the amount, in dollars?
In terms of the total dollars for these sites?
The cleanups, right.
I don't have that available in front of me.
Would you mind looking it up or having
Sure.
somebody report to us? Because
Sure.
that goes into the, how do we deal with the budget issues as the need?
Okay.
Thank you. The required review of clean water state revolving fund allotments to the states. In Section 505 of WARDA, you were asked to complete a review of the allotment of funds to the states under this revolving fund by December. Can you tell us what the update on that is?
We are on track to meet that deadline. We've been working with the states to see how to best fulfill that responsibility that was given to us in the Water Resources Reform Development Act. But we are on track. We are looking to make sure that we can use the most current data available. The 2012 needs survey is currently at OMB for review, so it is not yet public, but we, of course, know what's in it, and we're working to make sure to see that we can incorporate that as well.
Would it be possible to identify for us whether this includes tribal and territories?
I'll
state
have to
revolving
check.
fund.
Yeah, the needs survey that's in the Clean Water Act today it applies to the states, but it also applies to the territories and possessions and the District of Columbia. So there is the set aside in the SRF that is implemented now for tribes was something that was put in, requested by prior administrations and has been carried forward through the appropriations process. So it's not in the allotment formula itself, but I will take that back to the team and talk to them about how it is that we might incorporate tribes. And of course, we would want to talk with you all as authors of the provision and the states as well.
I really appreciate it. To the subcommittee, please. The last question I have, Mr. Kaposis, is the EPA headquarters in Region 9 are jointly developing the National Drought Resiliency Partnership in Southern California. First time I've heard of it. I'd like to, sounds like a great opportunity to improve the work that Southern California is doing on rain capture, on stormwater regs, and recycling, improving water efficiency, and of course conservation. Would you provide a very short summary of what the pilot project is and how others could benefit from this?
I will have to get back to you on that. I can say generally that we are trying our best to support the efforts in any of the areas that have suffered from drought. It's an administration-wide effort, but in particular what EPA can do, and that is to encourage water reuse and recycling and conservation. Well,
we're looking at a continuing drought cycle in the West, and certainly we need to look at every single item that we can. And may I hope that you get your appointment someday soon as Assistant Administrator, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to let members know, I know the Chairman and the Ranking Member, we went over our time, but we're going to try to hold close to the time because we're going to